Trump demands removal of Jamaican-born judge in election conspiracy trial. Washington, United States, AFP. Former U.S. President Donald Trump said Sunday he will petition to have a different judge oversee his historic criminal trial and for the case to be moved out of Washington. The twice-impeached Republican, who is seeking a return to the White House in 2024, has unleashed a stream of invective against those prosecuting him or running the case, in which he faces charges over attempts to overturn the 2020 election results and defraud the United States. His latest target, U.S. District Court Judge Tanya Chutkan, the Jamaican-born appointee of Democratic former President Barack Obama, who was randomly assigned to the case in Washington. "There is no way I can get a fair trial with a judge assigned to the ridiculous freedom of speech/fair elections case. Everybody knows this, and so does she," Trump, using all capital letters, posted on his Truth Social platform. "We will be immediately asking for recusal of this judge on very powerful grounds, and likewise for a venue change, out of Washington, a majority black city that leans heavily Democratic," Trump continued. His lawyer John Lauro, however, denied later Sunday that any final decision had been made. Lauro confirmed that they would be seeking a change of venue, but only after some polling and quantitative analysis in terms of how people are reacting to the indictment. Chutkan, 61, is one of a dozen judges on the Washington Federal District Court bench. Her nomination to her post in 2014 was approved unanimously by the Senate. She has a legal history with Trump, having ruled against him in a November 2021 case in which she notably declared that presidents are not kings. And she has handed down lengthy sentences to Trump supporters who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6 of that year. She has rebuffed the Trump legal team's recent demands. On Saturday, she denied their motion to extend a deadline for responding to the U.S. government's protective order request that could limit what Trump and his lawyers can share publicly about his case. Team Trump wanted to push the deadline to Thursday, but the judge said they must abide by the current deadline of 5 p.m., 2100 GMT, Monday. Pence may testify. Former Vice President Mike Pence, a key figure in the case, said Sunday that he would not object to testifying in Trump's trial. "I have no plans to testify," Pence told CNN. "But look, we'll always comply with the law," said the 64-year-old, who is now competing against his former boss for the Republican presidential nomination. Leading up to the January 6, 2021 joint session of Congress, Trump had called on Pence to use his position as presiding officer to block the certification of Joe Biden's election win. Pence ultimately refused to do so. Lauro argued on Sunday that Trump's requests were not orders, and were therefore legal under free speech clauses of the Constitution. "Asking is aspirational. Asking is not action. It's core free speech," he told CNN. The indictment last week revealed that Pence had taken contemporaneous notes of his meetings with Trump, which had been given to Special Prosecutor Jack Smith. Trump's trial date in the election case is expected to be announced on August 28 at a hearing before Chutkan. Despite his legal peril, Trump retains the loyalty of a large segment of his party. He holds a substantial lead in polls for the Republican nomination and is seen as widening the gap with his nearest rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. U.S. Border Patrol agents apprehend undocumented Caribbean migrants in Puerto Rico. San Juan, Puerto Rico, CMC- the United States Customs and Border Protection, CBP, agency says Ramey Sector Border Patrol agents in Puerto Rico have apprehended 16 undocumented Caribbean migrants who disembarked from a makeshift wooden vessel near a shopping mall in Atillo, Puerto Rico. According to CBP, the Ramey station received a report of a possible migrant smuggling incident near Plaza del Norte Mall in the municipality of Atillo. Border Patrol agents, along with personnel from Homeland Security Investigations, Atillo Municipal Police, and Puerto Rico Police Department officers, reached the beach behind the mall area and located an abandoned 30-foot fiberglass vessel, blue in color, with 2 outboard engines beached on the shore, said CBP in a statement. "Our message for anyone who is thinking of entering the United States illegally crossing the Mona Passage is simple: don't do it," said Desi de Leon, chief patrol agent for the Ramey sector. "People who venture to cross the sea, boarding a rustic and inadequate boat, endanger not only their lives but also the lives of law enforcement officials from both countries with the mission of rescuing them." After an extensive search, CBP agents located 16 undocumented migrants, which included 12 adult males from the Dominican Republic, 2 adult males from Haiti, 1 adult female from Haiti, and 1 adult female from the Dominican Republic. CBP said a Haitian female complaining of dehydration was transported to Camui Health Services for medical evaluation. During this federal fiscal year, CBP said Ramey Sector Border Patrol agents have apprehended 1,329 non-citizens who attempted or entered the U.S. illegally in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Editorial: Fables' Path to Greatness. Fable Williams has perhaps the most unenviable job in Jamaica's government. She is the island's education minister, overseeing a system that delivers poor outcomes. Yet, Ms. Williams has an opportunity to turn things around and be an outstanding minister, and time revered by Jamaicans. For this to happen, though, Ms. Williams, apart from anything else she may do with the portfolio, must urgently reorient the mission of the island's primary schools. Their fundamental obligation must be to ensure that no child leaves without being able to read or write or do sums at their grade level. Their critical mandate, in other words, must be for every student to enter high school fully literate and numerate. That will require rigorous ministerial interventions, including unplugging the escalator that annually automatically lifts primary school students from one class to the next, no matter how ill-prepared they are for promotion. Generally, up to a third of the island's grade 7 students, children between 11 and 12, graduate from primary school somewhere between being illiterate or being barely able to read or write. A few years ago, nearly 6 in 10, 57% of them, a commission that reviewed the sector noted, could not identify information in a simple sentence. A similar number could not write properly. Despite an improvement in test scores this year, over 36,000 children who were subjected to the Primary Exit Profile (PEP) exams to test their readiness for secondary education, 40% fell below the grade for proficiency in language arts. Over 2,500 of these students, 7%, were off the charts, deemed to be in need of intensive interventions to bring them to what is expected in grade 7, which is their first class in high school. Another 12,000 were in need of what the Education Ministry identifies in its PEP explanation kit as targeted academic support. Worse in mathematics. The situation was even worse in mathematics. More than half the students, 53%, did not meet the standard for proficiency. That is, over 19,000 students were in need of support to bring them to the grade 7 level. This weak performance in English and maths, the foundation upon which the teaching and learning experience is built, has a cascading effect on other subjects on which students are tested in PEP, such as science and social studies. So, each year, the Education Ministry attempts to play catch-up, hoping to bring students up to speed on knowledge and concepts that they should have learned in earlier grades. The remediation usually starts with special classes for the lagging students early during the summer recess. This year, 28,000 students who are either to enter grade 5 or transition to high school in September were part of this project, fewer than 3,000 in live classes and the remainder online. But these interventions are hardly ever sufficient. So the poor outcomes of primary school spill over into the secondary system, often setting the trajectory for students' performance at that level. Not surprising. It is not surprising, therefore, that despite large swathes of the cohort being screened out of the exams, in addition to the students who dropped before grade 11, the fifth year of secondary education, that fewer than 3 in 10, 28%, of Jamaican students pass 5 subjects, inclusive of English and maths, in the Caribbean secondary education certificate exams. Indeed, as the Patterson Commission on the Transformation of the Education System observed in its 2021 report, most students leave secondary school without a certificate, 70% of the 18-year-old cohort in 2018. The Patterson Commission offered many good, technically sound recommendations for fixing Jamaica's education crisis, which the government says it has set about implementing, unfortunately, without engaging in a significant public discourse on the report. The Commission's insistence on dealing with the many and glaring problems in the early childhood and pre-primary sectors, for instance, is important. In the meantime, however, even as it emphasizes the critical thinking that underpins PEP, Ms. Williams must command a return to, or focus on, the basics in primary school. No child must leave the system incapable of reading, writing, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. If a child cannot do these things satisfactorily for his or her age or grade level, then that child must not be automatically promoted to a higher class. In this regard, Ms. Williams should, as this newspaper proposed previously, borrow from the several states in the southern United States, especially Mississippi, and convince the Holness administration to legislate the policy. The law forbidding automatic promotions must be buttressed by appropriate teaching strategies to improve reading. Additionally, interventions must be launched to identify, and sensitively help, those reading deficient high school students who were carried along by the conveyor system, notwithstanding their unreadiness for secondary education. There will be arguments of the difficulties and impracticability of doing these things. Those arguments are wrong. Any obstacle is the absence of a will. Which is what we hope Minister Williams can muster to defeat the crisis. When can I come home, Mommy? Mother desperate to complete 2BR house to reunite with daughter in state care, child psychologist wants more done to assist separated families. It has been more than a year since Unique Thompson has seen her only child. The Clarendon mother has stumbled into hurdles while trying to secure the funds required to finish building a 2-bedroom home. Once the construction is done, it is believed that she will be able to reunite under the same roof with her now 7-year-old daughter, who is in state care. Speaking with the Sunday Gleaner recently, Thompson said that she felt as though she has been facing a losing battle. And with each phone call to her daughter, her heart shatters at the constant query, "When can I come home, Mommy?" The heaviness of the 6-word question has frequently brought Thompson to tears, as despite her best efforts to accelerate the construction of the home, she is still unable to afford the materials and to hire the labor needed to complete it. This, she said, has left her in a depressed state. "I just want her back in my life. That's why Mia asked for help," the mother said, sounding defeated. "To be honest, sometimes I feel like giving up, but then again, it's my only child, so I can't give up, but sometimes I don't know what to do," she added. Thompson recalled her own struggles growing up as she lived without her mother, who passed away when Thompson was 12 years old. She consequently spent a portion of her childhood as a ward of the state. Thompson recalled that this was also where she birthed her child. She explained that after leaving state care, she broke up with her child's father, and after he indicated a desire to see his child, her battle began. Thompson said she did not believe in refusing a father access to his child, so she complied. She explained that her child first ended up in state care after the father brought her to the police station under the guise that he was a stranger bringing in a lost child. She was, however, soon reunited with her daughter. By 2017, the child was found wandering the streets of downtown Kingston, while left in his care, she recalled. Thompson stated that she allowed the father to keep the child for short periods of time, but one day when she tried making contact with him via telephone, he was not answering. Then she saw a Gleaner social media post that her child was found on the streets alone. The child was removed from the home after a report of abuse and maltreatment was received by the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPSA. "I actually start the house already, I start the foundation. Me woulda make 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom because dem tell me in har ya de ina the same room," she said of the CPSA officer whom she has been in contact with. Thompson currently has no stable income and is unemployed. She had previously worked in community bars on occasion, but this did not last very long. Separation and reintegration. As of June 30, 2023, there were 4,281 children in state care. This is an increase of 2%, or 88 children, compared to the number reported as of the end of May 2023. The CPSA explained that children become wards of the state when they are found to be in need of care and protection, as defined by the Child Care and Protection Act. Some situations that may justify removing them from their homes include being without a parent or guardian to care for them, or having a parent or guardian that is unfit to care for them, being exposed to physical, mental, emotional or sexual abuse, incest, victims of violence, or have been neglected or abandoned. Those whose parents are drug mules or children used as drug mules, those in conflict with the law, children who are being trafficked, and those who are being exploited. The CPSA further told the Sunday Gleaner that all matters dealing with separation are placed before the courts, which determine the best interest of the child. As circumstances in such cases differ, intervention is provided on an individual needs basis. A court hearing into reports of mistreatment or abuse could result in children being placed with family members, a caregiver on a supervision order, or a children's home. According to the CPSA, children do better when they grow up in supportive, familial environments. As a result, it promotes foster care, adoption, family reintegration, and supervision order programs to offer children high-quality care and protection through individualized care plans. A total of 2,793, or 65%, of the children in care are living in familial environments, while 1,488, or 35%, are living in children's homes and places of safety. In 2021, some 745 children were successfully reintegrated with their families, a 2% rise from the year before. However, last year the overall number of reintegrations fell by 2.95%, totaling 723 children. The reintegration of children are conducted on a bi-monthly basis, in keeping with our placement committee meetings. The decision to reintegrate a child is based on the outcome of a series of supervised short-term visits during the holiday periods with child and caregiver and parent training. It is a usual course of action for the CPSA to reintegrate children with their families during holiday periods, which allows a caregiver to secure school placement and for the child to be settled in the environment. Children are reintegrated with their families based on the nature of the child becoming a ward of the state, namely deplorable living conditions, truancy, and behavioral issues, the agency said. More needs to be done. Child psychologist and family therapist Dr. Orlean Brown Earl would like to see more done by both public and private organizations that assist separated families so that the adults and children can receive counseling before they are reunited. Speaking with the Sunday Gleaner, Brown Earl said that more focus tends to be placed on child counseling, citing a common misconception that because adults are more mature, they will better understand the situation and how to cope with it. We also need to deal with the issues of what caused the separation and the fact they are coming back together again. What's going to be the short or long-term plans for that? Those issues must be addressed, she said. Brown Earl further indicated that children are never too young to comprehend a situation where they are separated from their parents unless they are under the age of 1 or are not mentally healthy. This is because they would have already formed bonds with their parents before separation. There must be some level of "this is what's going to happen to you" honesty with a child to say you're going to go back with your parents and whatever follow through. It mustn't be a one-time counseling thing, she said, adding that ideally, at least 3 or 4 sessions should be held within the first year of reintegration. Those who are willing to help Unique Thompson can contact her via telephone 876-562-1151. A deposit can also be made to the savings account in the name of Unique Thompson at the Jamaica National Bank's Market Street, Montego Bay, branch, AC number 2,094,673,592,